Most people lose the battle before they've even left their bed. You wake up, roll over, and the first thing you touch isn't the floor, it's your phone. And just like that, your mind is hijacked before your feet even touch the ground. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, once said, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, 'I have to go to work,' as a human being." He didn't have Instagram. He didn't have YouTube Shorts. But he knew the temptation of comfort and how dangerous it was to a disciplined life. Rule number 1 is simple: win the morning or lose the day. Stoicism teaches us that the first act of the day is a declaration of war, not against others, but against our lower self. The part of you that wants ease, comfort, and excuses. The snooze button is not harmless. It's a small surrender. A silent agreement that pleasure is more important than purpose. And that's exactly how you fall into a life of mediocrity without even realizing it. Look around. Most people are slaves to their mornings. They don't wake up. They survive it. They scroll, lie in bed, and hit snooze until life forces them up. But the Stoic man, he rises. Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. He understands that discipline isn't built in dramatic moments, it's built in the mundane ones. The alarm clock, the cold shower, the silent journaling. These are his sacred rituals. You don't need a gym membership or a 5 a.m. club badge. What you need is a decision. A moment of silence where you look at yourself and say, "No more. No more." Waking up reactive. No more giving in to that voice that says 5 more minutes. The Stoics believed that each day is a life in miniature. So if you waste the morning, what you're really doing is wasting a lifetime. Here's the challenge. Tomorrow, wake up 30 minutes earlier. No phone, no noise, just you and your thoughts. Take a cold shower, write down 3 things you will do, then do them. That's it. You don't need motivation, you need motion, and remember this. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your discipline. Your mornings are either a launch pad or a coffin. Choose wisely. If this message hit home, share it with someone who needs to wake up, not just physically, but spiritually. And if you're building your mind like a Stoic warrior, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss rule number 2. The war begins at sunrise. Rule number 2, delay pleasure, dominate life. If you can't say no to the donut, you won't say no to destruction. That's the hard truth. The second Stoic rule for unbreakable self-discipline is this: delay pleasure, dominate life. In a world where everything is designed to make you chase quick dopamine, the man who can wait becomes unstoppable. Seneca, a legendary Stoic, once said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, who is poor." Think about that. Poverty isn't always about money. It's about addiction to satisfaction. Every swipe, every click, every snack, every shortcut is a micro hit of comfort. But comfort is a drug, and too much of it makes you soft, weak, forgettable. The Stoics weren't monks in caves. They lived in the chaos and chose control. The real test of a man is not how loud he talks about discipline, it's how quiet he becomes when temptation whispers, when the phone pings, when the party calls, when the pleasure knocks. The Stoic does not slam the door, he leaves it open but chooses not to walk through. Here's the secret. Every time you delay pleasure, you build power. Power over your cravings, power over your mood, power over yourself. The world bends to the man who bends himself. You want the business? Delay the party. You want the physique? Delay the junk. You want peace? Delay the outrage. You want the crown? Delay the comfort. A man who lives for pleasure is a puppet, dancing for a dopamine hit, never in control, always needing something. But a Stoic, He feasts on focus. He hungers for legacy. And the sweetest pleasure to him is not indulgence. It's mastery. Try this today. Pick one thing you crave and deny yourself. Not forever. Just for today. Notice the tension. Sit in it. And watch how your mind tries to negotiate, rationalize, beg. That's the moment. That's the gym for your soul. Self-denial isn't about suffering, it's about strategy. The goal is not to punish yourself, it's to train yourself. Because once you can delay pleasure, you'll start attracting what other people chase their whole lives. If you're not chasing cheap pleasure, you're chasing greatness. And most people will never understand that. Control your emotions or be controlled. Anger, jealousy, fear. These are not weaknesses unless they control you. The third Stoic rule for unbreakable self-discipline is this: control your emotions or be controlled. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome and master of self-mastery, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Think about that. The world will always test you. Betrayals, failures, disrespect, heartbreak. But Stoicism teaches one truth. You don't control what happens, you only control how you respond. And that makes all the difference. Most people are emotional slaves. Someone insults them, they explode. Someone cuts them off in traffic, they rage. A relationship ends, they crumble. They think emotion is truth. It's not. Emotion is a signal, not a steering wheel. The Stoic doesn't suppress emotion, he understands it. He lets it rise. He watches it, he breathes through it, he responds with purpose, not impulse. That's power most men never reach. Here's what they won't tell you. Emotions are powerful allies, but dangerous masters. Anger can give you courage or destroy your relationships. Fear can keep you alert or paralyze you. Jealousy can push you to improve or turn you bitter. It's not about feeling less, it's about responding better. Next time your heart races and your mind screams, don't act, observe. Step back and ask, is this reaction making me powerful or pathetic? That 1 second of pause, that's the difference between a man and a child, between a king and a pawn. Today, practice this. When you feel triggered, pause, breathe in deeply. Say to yourself, I am not my emotion, I am the observer. Let the fire burn out, then act. You are not your anger. You are not your fear. You are not your sadness. You are the master of them. Rule number 4. Practice voluntary discomfort. One of the most powerful tools used by the Stoics to build unbreakable discipline was the practice of voluntary discomfort. In a world that constantly chases ease and convenience, the Stoics deliberately sought out moments of hardship. Not because they enjoyed suffering, but because they understood that true strength is forged in the fire of discomfort. They believed that by exposing themselves to controlled adversity, they would prepare their minds and bodies for the real storms of life. Seneca, a Roman philosopher and prominent Stoic, often challenged himself to live with less. He would sleep on the ground, eat the simplest food, and wear coarse clothing. Not because he had to, but to remind himself that he could. His famous line, "Is this the condition I so feared?" was a mantra to strip away the illusion of necessity and build inner resilience. By choosing temporary hardship, Seneca ensured that nothing could ever truly break him, because he had already rehearsed the worst. In today's world, we have been trained to avoid discomfort at all costs. We seek constant pleasure, comfort, and luxury. But this addiction to ease comes at a heavy price. It makes us soft, anxious, and dependent. When things inevitably go wrong, many collapse. Not because the situation is unbearable, but because they were never prepared to endure anything difficult in the first place. The Stoics would call this spiritual fragility. To reverse this, you must begin choosing discomfort regularly. Take a cold shower instead of a warm one. Walk to your destination when you could drive. Sleep without a blanket for one night. Fast for 24 hours to see that hunger won't kill you. Say no to unnecessary indulgences even when they tempt you most. These moments might feel small, but every time you conquer comfort, you take back control. You're proving to your subconscious that you are not a slave to cravings or circumstance. You are the master. Voluntary discomfort isn't about suffering for the sake of it. It's about training your willpower like a muscle. It's about choosing challenges on your terms so that when life throws them unexpectedly, you've already been there. This is not punishment. It's power. It's preparation. And more than anything, it's a declaration to yourself. I can handle anything. Make it a habit. Lean into the resistance. Because the more you choose discomfort, the more you train yourself to stay calm and disciplined when life turns chaotic. And that is the root of unshakable self-discipline. Rule number 5, delay gratification. In a world that worships instant results and overnight success, the ability to delay gratification is a radical and rare skill. But to the Stoics, it was a cornerstone of personal mastery. They understood that the greatest rewards in life don't come instantly. They come after sacrifice, after time, and after the patient, repeated choice to say not yet to what is tempting now in favor of something far more valuable later. Marcus Aurelius, the great Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, led with discipline not just in battle or in politics, but in his own mind. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Delaying gratification is precisely that, reclaiming power over your own impulses. It's looking at a short-term pleasure, whether it's fast food, scrolling endlessly on your phone, or quitting on a hard task, and choosing instead to hold the line for something bigger, a better body, a sharper mind, a stronger version of you. Modern science supports this ancient wisdom. Studies like the famous marshmallow test have shown that the ability to delay gratification in childhood often predicts success later in life. Why? Because people who can control their impulses can also stay focused, persevere through boredom and struggle, and resist temptations that pull others off course. In a world full of distractions, this is a superpower. But delaying gratification isn't easy. It goes against the wiring of your brain. Your mind wants dopamine now. It wants comfort now. It wants praise and validation now. And every time you give in to that impulse, it becomes harder to resist the next one. But here's the truth. Every time you delay gratification, every time you say no to something you want now, you strengthen your willpower. You raise your standard. You separate yourself from the masses. Discipline is doing what must be done, even when the reward is far off and uncertain. Delaying gratification teaches you to fall in love with the process, not the prize. To value progress over applause. To wake up every day and train, build, write, study, or work, not because it feels good in the moment, but because you believe in the person you're becoming. So the next time you're tempted to quit, to indulge, or to escape into comfort, pause, breathe. Remind yourself that everything you truly want is on the other side of patience. Your job is to hold the line. Say not yet, because every not yet brings you closer to a future most people will never reach. Rule number 6, embrace voluntary discomfort. Comfort is the silent killer of potential. It's soft, it's addictive, and worst of all, it lies. It convinces you that you're okay where you are, that you don't need to push harder, and that effort is optional. But the Stoics knew better. They didn't wait for hard times to test them, they went looking for them, not recklessly but intentionally, because they believed that if you don't face discomfort by choice, life will force it on you when you're least ready. Seneca, one of the wealthiest Stoic philosophers, would often sleep on the floor, wear simple clothes, and eat basic food, even though he could afford the best of everything. Why? Because he wanted to train his mind. He wanted to remind himself, is this what I feared? He practiced discomfort so that nothing could break him later. He made hardship familiar, and in doing so, built unshakable mental toughness. You don't need to sleep on the floor to live this rule. But you must start choosing discomfort. Wake up earlier than you want. Take cold showers. Train your body when your mind screams no. Say no to distractions. Choose the stairs over the elevator. Read instead of scrolling. Push one more rep when you're tired. Each time you do, you send a signal to yourself. I am not weak. I do not need to be coddled. I can handle life, raw and real. Most people wait for a crisis to reveal their strength, but the Stoic builds it in advance. Voluntary discomfort is a controlled burn. It toughens your spirit, sharpens your focus, and exposes your weaknesses before life can. It's not about suffering for the sake of suffering. It's about choosing to suffer on your terms so you're not destroyed when it's not. There is no growth without pain. You cannot become who you're meant to be while constantly chasing ease and pleasure. Muscle is built under tension. Character is forged under fire. Discomfort isn't your enemy. It's the gym where discipline is trained. So choose discomfort daily. Let it mold you. Let it humble you. Because every time you step into the hard path willingly, you become less breakable. And in a world full of soft minds, that makes you Rule number 7, protect your energy. Like a fortress, your energy is your currency. Every moment you spend arguing with someone who doesn't matter, chasing validation online, or overthinking what you cannot control, you are spending that energy. And unlike money, you can't earn energy back with a swipe of a card. Once it's gone for the day. That's why the Stoics were obsessed with focus, calm, and intentional living. They didn't just protect their time, they guarded their peace like a fortress. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor with more responsibilities than most people can imagine, still carved time for silence and stillness. Why? Because even the most powerful man in the world understood that mental clarity is more valuable than external control. He knew that chaos outside means nothing if you're calm inside. The real battlefield is not the world, it's your mind. And to win that battle, you must not allow every thought, every comment, every petty drama to enter your gates. In your daily life, this means boundaries, saying no without guilt, logging off when it's draining you, cutting off people who gossip, complain, or constantly seek attention. You are not obligated to entertain every voice that wants your attention. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table, and not every conversation is worth having. Learn to walk away with dignity. Learn to protect your space. Your energy should be spent on building, not reacting, on learning, not arguing, on purpose, not pettiness. Ask yourself constantly, is this helping my mission or draining it? If it's not feeding your soul, it's feeding your destruction. To have unbreakable self-discipline, you must stop being emotionally available to everything. Peace is not passive, it is power. The calmest person in the room usually has the most control, not because nothing touches them, but because they choose what deserves their attention. So from this day forward, guard your energy, audit your environment, be ruthless with your focus, because when your energy is centered, your discipline becomes unshakable. And a focused mind, undistracted by noise, can do the impossible. Rule number 8, fall in love with boredom. The path to greatness is not paved with excitement, It's carved through repetition. Most people fail not because they lack talent or ambition, but because they cannot tolerate boredom. They quit their workouts when the thrill fades. They stop building when progress slows. They chase dopamine instead of results. But the Stoics knew a secret that modern minds overlook. Discipline means doing what is necessary, even when it no longer excites you. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." Why? Because growth often looks boring to others. Waking up early, journaling daily, mastering a craft, it's not glamorous, it's not viral, it's not for the spotlight. But it's where your transformation happens. Every legendary athlete, entrepreneur, or warrior became great by doing simple things over and over again without applause. You must rewire your mind to stop equating boredom with failure. Boredom is not the enemy. Distraction is. The ones who succeed are not always the most gifted, but the most consistent. If you can stick to a process when there's no audience, no motivation, and no shortcuts, you become unstoppable. Because eventually, momentum kicks in, results stack up, and what once felt boring becomes your edge. So embrace the boredom, welcome the stillness. That silence you feel when nothing's happening, that's your mind sharpening, your willpower forming, your character being sculpted. That's where most people quit and where you will keep going. Remember, Stoic discipline isn't loud, it's quiet, steady, invisible, but its results, unmissable. So next time you feel bored, smile. You're exactly where you need to be. Rule number 9, choose long-term peace over short-term victory. In a world addicted to winning arguments, Stoics chose something far more powerful: peace. Not the passive kind that comes from silence, but the active internal calm that comes from understanding what truly matters. Rule number 9 is simple but life-changing. Choose long-term peace over short-term victory. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You always own the option of having no opinion." That's a radical idea in today's society, where everyone is desperate to be heard, to be right, to be validated. But being right is a shallow victory if it costs you your clarity, your energy, or your mental state. Stoics didn't waste time arguing over things that didn't matter. They saved their strength for the battles that built their character, not their ego. This rule teaches you to stop reacting impulsively. Not every insult deserves a response. Not every slight needs to be corrected. The moment you learn to pause, just pause, when your emotions flare up, you gain an edge 99% of people will never have. You stop trying to win the moment and start mastering your life. The truth is, most battles are traps. A petty argument with someone who won't understand. A comment war online with strangers who don't know you. A grudge you hold for years. All of it steals your time, your peace, your purpose. That's energy you could have used to build, to create, to grow. This doesn't mean you become passive or weak. On the contrary, it takes tremendous strength to walk away from drama, to let someone else think they've won while you keep winning at life. Stoics play the long game. They'd rather be calm than correct. They'd rather keep their mind sharp than prove their point. In a world at war with itself, your peace is your rebellion. Choose it, again and again. Rule number 10, live by a code that outlasts emotion. The final rule of unbreakable Stoic discipline is this: live by a code, not by moods. Emotions are temporary, a code is timeless. When the Stoics walked through fire, through war, exile, betrayal, they didn't rely on motivation. They relied on principles. Every day, your emotions will try to reroute you. One morning you'll feel lazy, one moment you'll feel angry, one rejection will make you want to give up. If you let these passing feelings steer the wheel, you'll swerve off purpose every time. But if you build and live by your own code, you become unshakable. A Stoic's code was simple but relentless. Do what is right. Control what you can. Accept what you can't. Speak little. Work hard. Never be owned by pleasure, pain, or praise. That code wasn't written in books, it was carved into their character. You need your own code too, a set of non-negotiables that defines who you are when things are calm, and who you stay when the storm comes. Write it down, memorize it. Let it become the compass that guides you when your mind starts to betray you. Because the truth is, discipline isn't about feeling strong all the time. It's about knowing what to do when you feel weak. It's about having a system, a code, a set of values that keep you grounded when everything else is trying to pull you off track. When you live by a code, you don't need motivation. You become motivation. So here's the last reminder. When emotions fade, when life gets loud, when you're tempted to give up, return to your code. Let it outlast your feelings. Let it lead you. Let it transform you. And if this 10-rule code has moved you today, subscribe. Because this is not the D. And it's the beginning of a better, bolder, more focused you.